tuned in to the 411 for your fantasy football with your host, Autumn Wind Williams.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, Autumn Wind Williams. You're now tuned into the 411 for your fantasy football. We are now at week 4 of the XFL 2020 season. Week 3 was not good for me. It was horrible. I followed Mad Matt McGlowan's advice to change the whole offensive game plan that he mentioned last week, and it didn't work. I picked Cardell Jones, and he got 2.2 fantasy points. Matt Jones, he did cool. I was debating on what running back I was going to pick from the Battlehawks. I saw he was probable. He went out there and got a rushing touchdown and 95 yards. They didn't let him get the 100-yard bonus. But he did give me 15.5 fantasy points. Rashad Ross, I tried to stack him with Cardell Jones. He only put up 2.7 fantasy points. And DeAndre Tompkins, he put up 2.8 fantasy points. Donald Parham, he went out there, balled. That was a good pick of mine that I had on the video. Hopefully it helped you guys in the lineup. He got 30.1 fantasy points. And then I try to stick in Jordan Smallwood to bring it back on the LA side, and he got 3.5 fantasy points. The defense came through that I picked on the video. Battlehawks, they got 17 fantasy points. It was electrifying. I knew that was going to happen with Matt Jones and the Battlehawks because it was in St. Louis first game out there since the LA Rams went back home where they rightfully need to be. But I felt pain for the St. Louis fans out there that wanted football in their life. They finally got it. They showed up huge. I think it was like 32,000 fans. They were wearing the gear more than any XFL team fan base I've seen lately. They were enjoying football. It was a great game for them. And so congratulations to all the St. Louis fans out there. I'm glad you guys got football back in your life. I wish we did it Oakland still. But this video, as usual, going to bring you a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, flex spot, and a defense that I have in mind for my main lineup. But first, what I want to do is get into the injury report because that's what affected me on some of my lineups too the past 2 weeks. XFL's website needs a little improvement. I don't know if they want to hire me or hire somebody else to do their injury report, or if they got an intern doing it, or what's going on, but things are not being updated fast enough. I'm getting late scratches, I'm getting popped like Popovich from the San Antonio Spurs, announcing late scratches right before lock, and it's destroying my lineups, man. And it's kind of like Belichick too, from the Patriots. Late lineup scratches, and it's destroying me. I need to know who's going to be playing before lock, man. Especially like, say, if you playing on FanDuel, you want to know that. You want to get that heads up. Draftkings, if it's the second game of Saturday or something, maybe you can do a late swap. And that's what I want to mention too. If it's guys that you put in your lineups that is questionable, you're not sure if they're going to play, make sure you put them in a flex spot. Because if they end up out, at least you can try to get somebody on the late swap to fill that flex. So make sure you do that with anybody that's questionable in your lineups. So I'm going to get on to the injury report right now, who we have that's out, doubtful, or questionable on all 4 games. First, we're going to go to the LA Wildcats and the New York Guardians. It's the first game kicking off tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 o'clock? 12 o'clock. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock West Coast time, baby. Yes, West Side. But it's going to be Mr. Exciting, Marquez Carter, the running back, who got like 3 touchdowns last week for the Wildcats. And I was picking on that team, thinking they had no type of potential. They had me eating barbecue crow. And it tasted so nasty because I had no Marquez Carter. But he's out with a hip, well, at least doubtful at this time. Nelson Spruce, wide receiver of the LA Wildcats, he's on AR. He was like fantasy goodness for everybody. But he's out for week 4. Josh Johnson, I told you guys. Josh Johnson, LA Wildcats quarterback, he is still injured. I know all you YouTubers and everybody doing these podcasts talking about how much upside he got running the ball, but he has not ran the ball this season at all. He threw a decent game, handed off to the running backs because he can't run. Right now he's questionable with the thigh. He was limited in practice. Chad Kanoff, quarterback for LA also, with a shoulder, limited in practice. He's questionable. Matt McGloin, you already know his story. Oh, my ribs. Oh, my ribs. Well, he claimed it's a thorax. He was limited in practice, but he's out. He's not playing week 4. I think he just want to be traded. Or he would just want to quit football. The guy does not look good out there. As I mentioned to you guys before, many of times, I'm a former season ticket holder of the Black Hole. When Matt McGloin was coming in the game for Derek Carr, playing explosive, we nicknamed him McLovin. But lately in the XFL, he's been Mad Matt McGloin. Mad at the team he's on, mad at the receivers, mad at everything. He's mad at life. I don't think he want to play football anymore. And he's doing horrible at it if he actually does. Moving on to the second game for Saturday. We have the Seattle Dragons versus the St. Louis Battlehawks. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. 2 o'clock West Coast Time. Kasim Williams, wide receiver of the Seattle Dragons. He did not participate in practice. He's out for the game again. One more game. That's right. Here we go again with Matt Jones, running back for the St. Louis Battlehawks. Limited in practice, questionable. I think he's going to play because he's been questionable like every week. And when he does play, he go out there and he's been explosive. He's been one of the best running backs for XFL. I have to say that. St. Louis Battlehawks wide receiver Carlton Agadosi, full participant, but he is questionable with the shoulder. So keep in mind of that. On to Sunday, March 1st, Houston Roughnecks, Dallas Renegades, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 o'clock West Coast Time. Okay. The only injury we have right here is on Houston with D'Angelo Henderson, running back. Did not participate. He's out with a shoulder, as usual. I think it's been, every single week? If not every single week, past 3 weeks. Very last game, March 1st, Sunday, at DC Defenders, Tampa Bay Vipers, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. West Coast time. We have 2 injuries. Not really injury, 1 injury. Quentin Flowers, quarterback, running back, didn't participate, and he's doubtful. He quit on the team, man. He does not want to play for Tampa Bay Vipers. And I know the reasons why. He's not getting a chance to prove himself at quarterback. You know what I think? I think New York Guardians, Tampa Bay Vipers should do a swap. I noticed a lot of trades that happen in the XFL. They trade by position: quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, all that. They should trade Matt McGloin to the Tampa Bay Vipers and Quentin Flowers to the New York Guardians. Last but not least, Tampa Bay has S.J. Green. I believe he came from the CFL. He's a wide receiver. He did not participate, and he's questionable with a knee. One other thing I want to mention. This is a passing game league, and they like mobile quarterbacks at the same time. Why hasn't anybody contacted Terrell Pryor? I think he would be a great fit for the XFL. This video, I'm campaigning for one of these teams, preferably the New York Guardians, to get Terrell Pryor. He's been on several teams in the NFL. He started off with the Oakland Raiders. And if you look at every last 8 team in the XFL, count how many people they have former Oakland Raiders. It's the Las Vegas Raiders, possibly an XFL team. To be continued. And the reason why I said that too is because the court date for the Oakland Raiders and the NFL versus the city of Oakland is on March 6th next week, and I will be attending. I will be doing a video for you guys to have any heads up on what's going on with that court case, the city of Oakland versus the Oakland Raiders in Las Vegas, and it's going to be for monetary losses, or maybe they will settle out of court and give up the name and the colors and the logo to stay in Oakland, just in case an expansion team will be available for Oakland to start the Oakland Raiders again. In Las Vegas, we'll have maybe an XFL expansion team, the Las Vegas Outlaws. You remember they were in XFL before. But let's start moving on to my lineup, give you guys some type of idea. Oh, by the way, I forgot. One more that's going to be doubtful for Tampa Bay Vipers, really important, is Nick Truesdale, wide receiver / tight end. He will not be participating in week 4. All right, at quarterback, who I have is Landry Jones. You know, even though a lot of his wide receivers not catch the ball, he's going for the most passing in the league with a lot of checkdowns to his running backs. Last week, he completed 30 of his 41 passes for 274 yards with 3 touchdowns, but he threw 2 interceptions. And I remember seeing him fumble the ball too. And I was like, this is XFL's white version of Jameis Winston from the NFL, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But for fantasy, that's somewhat good. And if you look at Jameis Winston's numbers as far as fantasy, you would understand what I'm talking about, because it's like he'll likely get a lot of opportunity on the field for more snaps, and that allows more touchdown opportunities too. And that could cause the game to be a shootout. I think that's going to be one of the biggest shootouts of the game, is P.J. Walker versus Landry Jones on Sunday. And like, of course, I want to pay up for P.J. Walker, but I have more ability to put in wide receivers or higher priced running backs and maybe a higher priced defense if I go down to Landry Jones, who's possibly able to put up equivalent fantasy numbers as Phillip Walker, even though I kind of think Phillip Walker is going to run this and Houston Roughnecks is going to win this game. But it's a shootout possibility when you have Landry Jones to throw the ball so much. Even though he's throwing it to his running backs, is helping him work down the field. Is helping him work down the field quickly when you have Cameron Artis-Payne and Lance Dunbar. Which brings me to the running back that I want to play, and that's Lance Dunbar from the Dallas Renegades to pair up with Landry Jones in a stack. I mean, Lance Dunbar, he got 16.9 fantasy points last week, and that helped him almost match what Cameron Artis-Payne put up, which was 17 fantasy points. I mean, he could have got more, if he passed the goal line in the second half and got that touchdown. Plus, he's just catching more passes. He got 11 targets, most receptions by a running back in week 3. So I really feel like it's a good thing for me to put him in my lineups for week 4. Staying in that game, I have to pick Cam Phillips. I don't care if he's the highest priced running back from the Houston Roughnecks. Look what he's doing. He's hard to cover. He's playing on the most efficient offense in the league. And just look at the numbers. He's improving week after week. 16.7 fantasy points week 1. Week 2, he got 32.3 fantasy points. Week 3, he got 48.4 fantasy points. So, is it a possibility he can have regression? Yes. So, Cam Phillips is definitely going to be my wide receiver for week 4. Moving on to my flex spot. This is going to be tough. Because I kind of think he might have regression. He has a Q tag right now. And, last week I said I was changing the game plan, taking the advice of Matt McClellan, and it effed me up because you saw all these running backs last week going out there and putting decent numbers. And weeks prior, I was playing 2 running backs in my lineup. I think I'm going to go back to it and play Matt Jones from the St. Louis Battlehawks as my second running back in a flex position in my lineup, my main lineup too. I mean, the team wants to run the ball. We saw it last week when they was in St. Louis. The crowd was electric. They didn't have to throw that ball that much. Jordan Tamu, he didn't really try to do too much. He gave it to the running backs to try to take a hold of the lead. The defense did great, and everything just worked perfectly for the Battlehawks. And that's why I'm pairing them up with the Battlehawks defense. As I mentioned before, it's home field advantage. Silvers is the worst at passing grade in the league. In Seattle, they have at least 3 offensive linemen that's either questionable or not playing in week 4. So that's what I'm going to do with my main lineup, is work with these guys, try to fill these other spots with guys I feel like that's going to make a major impact in the game. So I'll just go from the top to bottom right now, just in case you want to fill them in your lineups too. At quarterback, I'm going with Landry Jones from the Dallas Renegades. At running back, going with Lance Dunbar from the Dallas Renegades. At wide receiver, other side, stacking it up with Cam Phillips, Houston Roughnecks. At flex spot, I got Matt Jones. He's questionable though, so keep an eye on that injury report if you try to lock him in your lineups. Because if he's sit, we screwed if we don't change him out. So put him in that flex position, like I said, just in case he's not playing. And in defense, I have the St. Louis Battlehawks. Caw-caw, caw-caw. I like how they super fans doing that. Caw-caw, caw-caw. But anyway, that's it for this video, you guys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the 411DFS. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell me who you want Who you think is going to be the immaculate defense this week? Who you got at quarterback? Who you got at running back, wide receiver? If you're playing a tight end, what's your flex spot? And what questionable guy you think that's actually going to play the game and possibly be the MVP of the week? Other than that, I'm done. Make sure y'all keep those lineups strong. Get out there and just win, baby. See you at the top. Peace. I'm out.